If you're still stuck in progress on the squat or deadlift, or you get a lot of repeated injuries around your core or your lower back, it might not always come down to a strength issue. Sometimes it's about the quality of your brace and how and when to brace, and that's what we're talking about today. If you're new here, I'm Coach Mitch, and as someone that's deadlifted 730 pounds, I truly feel that bracing is one of the most underrated concepts of actually improving on your big strength lifts. Most people, years into their journey, are still thinking about bracing wrong, which is leading to stalls in their progress. Now, there's 1,000 different cues and techniques out there, so we're gonna go over what a brace actually is, how to do it, why it's important, and then how to fix yours if it's something holding you back right now. By the end of this video, you should have the tools to master your brace, and I promise you hit a PR in the next 30 days. All right, so let's talk about why bracing even matters. Most people think it's just about getting your core as tight as possible, and it's much more than that. To do this, we can think about the soda can analogy. If you think about a soda can that's tight all the way around, any amount of pressure that we put on it is gonna be able to withstand much better. But the moment we have a leak or a tiny break in the seal, then suddenly our strong base isn't so strong. We wanna make sure all the muscles of our core are coming into play, like your abs, your obliques, your lower back, and even your lats to create the most stable foundation possible for you to lift the most weight. So now we know that bracing is much more than just taking in air, so let's figure out how to actually do it. The rule of bracing is understanding diaphragmatic breathing. Or in other words, I just need you to breathe through your belly, homie. Step one, you're gonna exhale and stack. Or in other words, we're gonna breathe all of our air out. And as we do this, we're gonna stack our rib cage on top of itself. We can do this by imagining two strings, one at the bottom of your chest and one at the top of your hips. And when we breathe that air out, you're gonna sit your rib cage directly over the top of your hips. Step two, while we're stacked, then we're gonna flex our core and inhale. We wanna think about squeezing all the muscles in this area. So that's squeezing our abs, our obliques, and even bringing our elbows down to bring those lats into play. Once we have that tightness 360 degrees, all that tightness or that tension, then we're gonna breathe into it. This part, it should be kind of difficult. Your body wants to hold you in place and you wanna breathe into all that tension you just created. If you did it right, it should be very hard to bend either way because we got our torso so stiff, and that's what we want. So what's another way that we can learn this? We can use 90-90 breathing. And the whole goal is that we're just gonna follow the same rules of our brace. You can start by laying down and having your feet up in some sort of 90-degree position. If something like having the legs on the wall is too much for you, you can just use a chair. Once we're in a position, we're just gonna follow the same rules. We're gonna breathe out and stack, and then we're gonna flex and breathe in. We still have the same goal of trying to expand our core in all directions and feeling those abs tighten up as I breathe out in the front, but also in the back, I should feel myself breathing into the floor. If you're still having some difficulty and it's hard to connect with that belly breathing, we can use something like a light weight on top of our stomach and breathe and trying to push that weight away from our spine. Once you master bracing on the ground, we can work our way up to harder positions. So that's things like sitting, standing, and then actually using the barbell for a form like the squat and the deadlift. No matter what drill you choose, just remember that a good brace is all about how much pressure we can create. If we can get more pressure, we're gonna feel more stable, and if we feel more stable, you're gonna be able to use a lot more of your strength. So we can think about something like a heavy squat or a heavy deadlift. We want as big of a brace as possible. I wanna take my time to set it up. I wanna get as much air as I can so I can carry as much pressure as I can because of the weight that I'm about to lift. However, there's also different types of bracing. For example, we use more of a chest brace in something like the bench press versus a belly brace, typically like squat and deadlift. The key to this is learning what type of braces you need for what exercises and learning what puts you in the best position to feel strong. So now that we actually know how to brace, now we can add something like a weightlifting belt to make the most of this process. The same rules are gonna apply. We're gonna breathe out and stack, and then we're gonna tighten and breathe in, but now we're breathing in into all directions of the belt. Now the key is most people over-tighten their belt way too much. You should have a good balance of still feeling like you can breathe in a lot of air, but also that the belt is not restricting you from breathing. My favorite test for this is the 2-finger test. If you're relaxed with the belt on, you should still be able to get 2 fingers in the belt at all times. If you're looking for a good starting position in your belt, I recommend you starting really high, somewhere around the bottom of your rib cage, and working your way down till you find a comfortable spot. Now, if you're still struggling with your brace after all this, it can come down to a couple things. One, and most common, is you just need to get better with bracing. This skill takes time to master. And if you're being more intentional on your warm-ups and practicing these drills before your big lifts, your skill at bracing is gonna grow super fast. Two, just your core strength. We need to get stronger in our core to support the brace we're trying to do. And that's more exercises for your abs, your obliques, and your lower back. And three, something that's really overlooked is just your cardio or your lung capacity. How much air can we really take into our core? A great way to practice this is getting better at holding our breath for longer. For clients in my training program, we have a standard of 5 reps. You should be able to hold one breath, one brace for 5 reps. Bracing should not be that complicated to start, but it does take time to master. And if you can apply everything we just talked about within this video, then I promise you are on your way to a PR very soon. If you want to learn to apply bracing more into your program and interested in working with me directly, just look in the links down below and subscribe for more.